From the Middle is a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 258 of From the Middle. We are now, again, three middle class guys living in the middle of America in the middle chapters of our lives with points of view somewhere in the middle. In this episode, Kory is finally back from Hawaii. But before we talk about his trip, we talk a little bit about the garage sale, Father's Day, and a little bit more reminiscing about our childhood playground experiences. We have a ton of fun in this episode, lots of great stories in the back half. Make sure to stick around. Let the music go.
Oh, for the love.
Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it? You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved.
From the Middle after dark over here.
What's up, guys? Hey, there's a guy back. I thought you'd be much darker than you were when you left, but 2 weeks in Hawaii, and here you are. You still look like Kory. You still sound like Kory.
Yeah, still Caucasian. Darker on certain parts of my body. It's so good seeing you guys, and I have to say at the top, you did so well while I was away. I loved listening.
You got us stuck here. Okay. I feel like the parts of your body that should be darker are the parts that I'm currently seeing.
You'd think, but I'm so terrified of my head getting fried that I put so much SPF 30 on my face and head. But then I still got sun in this shape. And then like my arms look great, but then my thighs are as white as the freshly fallen snow. So it is.
Okay.
I am an uneven cacophony of colors. But anyway, back to what I was saying. You guys crushed it. It was so fun listening to you the last 2 weeks. Thank you for holding down the fort while I was away. And before we go any further, Kendall, on a serious note, so sorry about your friend Dan. Would love to know how your friend group and his family's doing. Hope everybody's good there.
Yeah, and as far as I know, people are doing okay. All things considered. I mentioned before that it was a situation where, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, everybody knew that it was coming, and as it got closer, it got clearer that it's coming sooner and sooner, and that's. I mean, I think you can imagine that that's helpful in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to mention it at the top. I know that's a big thing, and I felt for you in that moment. So I just wanted to say sorry to you and the friends. And then got to follow up, Dillon, how did your garage sale go?
Well, as expected, all the huge dorks like me came and bought all my old toys first, which was awesome. Good. It was 2 days. It was very hot. But not as hot as it is right now. And to spare myself from having to mow during this hell week that we're having as far as temperatures, I mowed after the garage sale on Saturday. So we did the garage sale, got up early, did the garage sale, cleaned everything thoroughly, pulled everything out of the garage, got the blower, blew everything, dust, dirt, leaves out of the garage till I was dead, took a bunch of stuff to Goodwill that didn't sell, super dead, because we had to like pack things up and unpack it, and then came back and mowed because I wanted to do that. So it was probably the closest I've gotten to like passing out in a long time, because it was a long day and I probably wasn't hydrated and probably didn't have enough food. But I made it alive and we got some cash. But more importantly, we cleaned out a bunch of junk. So I feel good, way more gooder about that. And the basement storage is far more organized than it was.
Let's go.
It's not done, but it's far more organized. So thanks to all the geeks that came and bought my junk. I know you're all resellers, but I don't care. Good luck.
Hey, that's a win-win, like you guys talked about. Stuff's gone. Space is clear. Made a little
Yeah.
money. Good
Huge.
feelings. Weights off your shoulders. That's awesome. But yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes you're so filthy that you're like, what other horrific, filthy task can I do while I'm so swampy and miserable?
Just gross. I can't imagine if underwear could talk, you know? I can't imagine the kind of horrific things that would come out of its mouth. But fortunately it can't, and it's inanimate. And I made it through. In fact, I probably should have just burned that pair, you know, after the day. Just call it and end that pair. But yeah. We just got as much cleaning done and whatever as we could. So thank you for letting me borrow several tables, as did our dad and Bree's parents, because we needed it. We had lots of quote retail space to put lots of things on display. And it's always weird, like what things sell and what things don't. Because
Right?
in your mind, you know value of certain things. Some stuff just junk goes right away. It's wild. One lady bought our tennis rackets. We had some old tennis rackets. And she said, you could throw these covers away. My grandkids are just going to hit each other with them in the driveway. They're never going to put them back in the covers.
What?
And I'm like, so like swords, like they're going to use them like swords. She's like, oh yeah, I'm sure. They got a bunch of toys out there. So she literally took the covers off the tennis rackets and handed them to me for me to throw them away because she just wanted the rackets. So there you go. You never know. You never know who's going to show up.
The unexpected items, but the unexpected usages of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of course, some people show up right away on the first day, like, you have toys or video games, and it's like, are you like a collector or do you know people that buy? That's a nice way to ask if you're a reseller. And they were all kind of like, yeah, I, resell some stuff. It's like, it's fine. I'll show you what I got. So anyways, it was cool. Yeah, it wasn't fun, but it's over. And I'm glad it's over. And like I said, cleaning was important.
Did the typewriter go out to the garage or did it stay inside?
Still inside. Still don't know. Undecided. No one has messaged with prices or interest in typewriter. I'm disappointed. Would love to know if anyone is willing to pay for it. I can't ship it. It's too heavy. My back is dead. But if you want to come get it, I could probably muscle it up the stairs. So just let me know.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm just glad that all of it left. That's what I was worried about. What do you do with
Yeah.
the stuff that doesn't sell?
One way or another.
Don't bring it back in the house.
One way or another, nothing was coming back in. So it was gonna get sold. We put some of the stuff out for free towards the very end, and then the rest went to Goodwill. So perfect.
Well, you told me how much you raked in, and I think you've inspired me, at least, to do the same. And some people in the neighborhood Facebook group are talking, hey, if we get enough people, you guys want to advertise a garage sale. If we get enough houses to justify visitors from other neighborhoods, we should do it. So I think
for sure. Yeah, it was a good idea. So I know somebody from our HOA posted on social media and then into like the local buying groups, like a week or two ahead of time, like this is going to happen. There's a handful of houses doing it. So definitely do it if you've got like a community effort that's going into it. We didn't even have big stuff and we did okay. So like felt good. You should do it.
I didn't know the resellers were such a known thing. Like, are they trying to, like we talked about about collecting? People don't know what they have. They might be sitting on a gold mine of things. Like we use the example of baseball cards or like hard to find action figures. Is that what they're doing? Just trying to get people who don't know the value of games and toys were what they said.
Yeah, games and toys went quickly. Requests for video game stuff. Requests for Pokemon cards, requests for
from adults or children,
any kind of toys, all from adult men, big dorks, just like me. We're like, you could tell the 30 to 50-year-old, several guys like, hey, do you have any? And of course, vinyl, somebody asked about vinyl, but yeah, it's that stuff. It's stuff that they know they can probably flip. It's like people looking for old, imagine our dad would want to go and look for old army guys and GI Joes and, some people might look for popular well-built toys. Like imagine if you stumbled across the old box of all metal still Hot Wheels, versus a lot of the cars now are like cheap plastic and kind of
Mhm.
junky. And so, people looking for nice, well-built older toys that they can probably go sell. It's just that you can't have the patience to resell everything, or I don't certainly. So like I'll hold on to some stuff that I'll try to sell eventually online, but like I was getting rid of some of the stuff that I'm like, I just don't have the patience to post all of this. So, but yeah, if people have like toys and certain collectibles. Also, shout out to King of Collectibles on Netflix, which is like an auction house for people doing that kind of thing. It's interesting.
Nobody asked for Lego, huh?
Oh, somebody did, but I was trying to think of some stuff I was willing to sell. Like I going through some childhood boxes, I found all the Bionicles, like the original characters still built from when I was younger. So like that's something I'm going to post them all together online and figure out a price because it's Lego. It's the original Bionicle. They're still in great shape. They're fully built with all the parts. So that's something I can probably go see if it's worth anything. And if not, then I'll donate it to somebody and let them have it. But
Right on.
yep, people ask for Lego. They like that stuff.
Glad to hear it went well.
Yep. Thanks for asking.
Kendall, how's your fam? Everybody good?
Oh, we're all good. Baseball wrapped up on Monday.
Is that
The
bittersweet?
end of the tournament for us.
Okay.
Yeah, bittersweet. There's an appropriate amount of sadness after the game in the van. But I mean, by the time we got home, like he was good, and we were talking about like what we're gonna work on and things, and he's gonna play ball in the fall.
Okay.
So
That's always the first question,
So
right? Are you
now-
going to play again? Did you like it
Yeah.
enough that you want to play again?
Oh yeah, but not only are we playing again, but we're playing in one of the off seasons.
Yeah.
So
Ball,
Yeah.
baby.
fall ball. So we're looking forward to that now and everything. So that was good. Vacation Bible school's going on this week, and so
Yep.
that is also good and tiring for anybody out there who's worked for that kind of thing before. You know how exhausting 2 hours can be.
And you've mentioned in the past that of all the things you could volunteer or help with at a church, working with kids would be at the bottom of your
That's
list.
the bottom of the list. That's like the one
Very,
thing
I'm not going to say worst. I don't want to imply it's bad, but it's your least favorite of all the favorites.
it's a lot of people like working with the kids, and in a lot of churches that's true, and in our church that's also true. So I don't have an official capacity there. Our main pastor who usually comes and opens things up, and we're doing a penny parade for a charity event and things like that, and he handles that portion of the evening. He couldn't be there on time, and so I had to kind of step in and do that stuff, which was cool. But then other than that, like Amy she's like the snack person, and so like I just show up to help her, like which is great for me. Like I specifically make sure that like I don't have an official capacity
Yeah.
with Vacation Bible School. I want to just sort of like be there if something needs done. So
Now, when you're helping with that, is this a one for them, one for me kind of situation? Is that what you like? You buy enough that you can like one hot dog prep for the kids and one for me, and one.
that's there's usually plenty of leftover. And so we count out how many kids are there that day. We put out that many of whatever the snack of the day is. Today it was everybody got 2 freshly iced cookies, and then each table had a bunch of sprinkles, and they could decorate their own cookie and then eat it. Which it went over much better than you're thinking it went. Cleanup was not that difficult.
Turns out
but
they'll lick it right off the table. As it turns.
they apparently, yeah.
Yeah,
So plenty of leftover cookies at the end
that's awesome.
of setup. So yeah, we got a lot of teenagers helping out and that kind of thing, and so they get fed too.
That's awesome. Case Man just got back from VBS tonight. So when we got back from our trip, we missed the first night. We're like, oh snap, that was tonight. So his first night was tonight. It was the second night. But VBS in the summer, it's just a special thing, isn't it? I know, Dillon, you were talking about the differences in summers as kids today versus kids when we were kids. And yeah, VBS was always a highlight.
Yeah, for sure. And they don't have metal slides that are hot griddles that you slide down in the summer. They actually make those safe now for kids, and they won't scald their skin. So
The sound of thigh skin rubbing against a hot metal slide when you've gone too fast, and it's just that horrific screeching noise.
yeah,
Oh man.
I tell you,
pancakes cook on cooler griddles. Then those slides are hot, man. It's
Like,
wild.
I remember in elementary school, we had one at the playground. The elementary school playground had two metal slides. One of them, in my 6-year-old mind, it was 20 feet tall. I'm sure it was probably more like 10, but it was pretty tall. And sometimes I think about that slide, that it was just like a ladder going up. Like there was no like safety situation of like, it's just like rungs on the ladder climbing up to the slide. There was one bar at the top. And then like, if you sat down in the slide that had like 2-inch walls going down it, and it was hot, like there was nowhere for you to like get up or move or anything like that. Like you just were bearing it, and you couldn't fall over the edge. Like that wasn't well, you could, people did sometimes, but like that wasn't a viable option because it was in the middle of blacktop. There was no mulch. Certainly there wasn't, like, rubber mulch wasn't a thing, but it wasn't even in a mulched area. It was just embedded in blacktop.
Yep.
And tell you what,
Yeah. We hit the bottom of those things after coming off, like, finished pancakes, but it was a net positive, right? Because you went and did it over and over. Like, you knew you got burned and you knew it wasn't good, but there was still the thrill. And you're like, I know I'm going to go again.
It hurts so good.
I'm a glutton for punishment. Like, I know this is going to be terrible and awesome at the same time.
And at Ada Elementary, we had a rolly slide. Kendall, I don't know if your school had a rolly slide. So if your skin wasn't getting burnt on hot metal, it was getting pinched between rolls. Do you know what a rolly slide is?
I know what it is. We didn't have one, but
yeah.
I know
So your skin would get pinched in between opposing rolling grooves, like those videos we now watch on reels of like, hey, watch us put this thing into metal teeth that roll together and this thing will get destroyed. That was your skin in a rolly slide.
Yeah.
What was that show that you were talking about, Kory, where they took like, city folk and put them out in nature to see what they would do? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
home videos.
The survival show?
Yeah. I forget what it was called.
The one with the millennials?
Yeah.
Oh, Dillon, what was it?
Or was it Dillon? It was
What
Dillon.
was that?
We were both watching it. Dillon recommended it. I started watching it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
Whatever
Really
that
funny.
whatever that show was. I want to see a version of that show, but with elementary aged school children of today. And we need to find or put together what playgrounds used to be and just send them out on that playground and see what happens.
Meanwhile, their parents have to be behind ropes and are not allowed to helicopter parent for safety and just go, this is horrific. There's no, it is horrific. And we all survive.
Your child is going to get hurt.
Yep.
But it's cool.
Yeah, and we never had one near us, but anytime you stumbled across one of those giant wooden, never-ending wood, amazing worlds of wooden fortress, no threat of splinters could stop you from playing in that wooden castle of amazingness. We didn't have one near us, but gosh, I feel like we ran across those several times in our childhood. You'd go to another school for a sport or something, and they would have one, and you'd be like, I have to be in there. It's incredible. Snowflake Mountain.
Snowflake Mountain.
Yeah,
I thought you were
Snowflake.
talking about Alone for a second. I'm like, no, those people are
No, no,
legit.
no, no.
Okay.
Yes, I was looking on Netflix and I just saw it. Yeah, Snowflake Mountain was a
Snowflake
very
Mountain.
interesting
That was
show.
so good. I hope they come out with another season.
Anyway, Father's Day happened.
Sure did. Did you guys have good daddy's days?
Yeah. What about you, Dillon? How was your daddy's day?
Well, it was part of garage sale weekend, so it was
Yeah.
busy. And we went to lunch. I had a good burger. Nobody else liked their food, so I won't say where we went. My food was good.
Come on, put them on blast, man. We need to know.
Had a nice sandwich, a good burger, and I get just a good burger. Never, I love a good burger. I wasn't like a relaxed day. It was kind of like a go do this, go do that, but it was nice. I kind of ordered my own gift for the most part this year.
Mhm.
I had a Lego gift card left, and the Lord of the Rings Barad-dûr set was calling my name, so I got that. But I also got a very cool. My wife knew that for a long time I collected movie stubs before they were digital, and I have a bunch of ticket stubs, and they just were in a solo cup. So she got me a cool box office ticket holder box to put on the wall that I can now go like put on the wall and then shove my tickets in and you can see them through the glass.
Love
So
it.
it was a great idea. Really, really cool. So yeah, it was nice. Um, I wish it wasn't so busy because of the garage sales at the same time, but it was a nice weekend. How about you guys?
Well, for us, Father's Day was good. Kind of started on Friday. Took my parents out. My family took my parents out for dinner Friday night, um, which was good. Local place called Hickory House that we really like. Um, and then Saturday was kind of the Father's Day for us. Sundays, I'm yeah, I'm no good on Sundays. They're just a busy day, and I often that ends up being my cranky day if I'm going to have one is Sunday afternoons. Uh, but no, Saturday was good. There was some time at the pool. There was I did get gifts. I got this hat, which is a hat for
Yay.
the Greensboro Grasshoppers.
Yeah, it
You guys
is.
remember the story where we got to catch a game from our hotel room across the street from right field. And so that was good. Isaac got me this, and then I got I got a Goldberg and Drew McIntyre WWE action figure set.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I'm starting to build a very small collection of WWE action figures just because I've got the one son who he knows I watch WWE and he thinks that like I collect that, like I would love these action figures. And so now I kind of am like, he's pulling me into liking these action figures. So over the course of the years, he's got me a few of those. I've got a Daniel Bryan and I've got a Hollywood Hogan
That's
as
awesome.
well from him. And then I got a nugget ice maker that I've always wanted. Do you guys know? So like the good ice, the chewy ice from like Sonic.
Oh my gosh, that exists. That's Sherry's favorite ice.
Yes, mine too. And I've always wanted a nugget ice maker. They're crazy expensive, so I've never gotten one. And they take up they take up quite a bit of counter space, not a ton. And so my wife like found one at a restock kind of place that like, they buy and sell returns from different stores, and they buy Amazon crates and things. And so everything that they sell there is at least half price or more. And so she found a nugget ice maker from there. And we got it. It works. She put together the spot on the counter where it's going to go and put it there. We set it all up, and the thing is amazing. And I have my own nugget ice at home, and
I'm
love
texting the old lady right now and letting her know they make nugget ice makers.
I've got the GE. I think it's what it's called. No, I forget what it's called from there, but they only have a couple of versions of it. I have what I think is the original version of it.
That's freaking awesome. That is the best ice. That
It
close
is.
second the cylindrical ice that you can put your straw through.
The opal ice. Yeah.
The opal. There's names for these things. I didn't know you were an ice connoisseur.
I'm somewhat. Are you surprised?
We're 250 episodes in, learning Kendall's also an ice connoisseur. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Or should I say, ice-em. So I had a good Father's Day. We were in Denver on our way back from our vacation. All I wanted was to go to breakfast to a dinery, old school breakfast in Denver. So we did that. And while we were at breakfast, my kids gave me this the lava rock bracelet with 3 special beads on it, one for each of them, as well as a Polynesian Hawaiian fish hook ring that looks like Maui's fish hook from Moana.
I like that.
With like a brown inlay, which is very nice. So yeah, they know I like accessories, and so they hooked me up.
Yeah, they
pretty
blinked
awesome.
you up, man. I like it.
Yeah, and then we walked around. We were in Parker, Colorado at the time, a suburb of Denver, and they have something called Parker Days, which is like where they close down the main street and have a lot of fun festivities going on. And then visited with family for a bit while we were out there. So it was good.
Good.
This feels like a great place to take a quick break and hear some words from some of our friends in Odd Pods Media. And if you don't want to hear about my trip to Hawaii, this is a great time to just stop the episode entirely and not come back. So thanks, Artius Man, for your sponsorship. Go to artiusman.com. Use promo code The Middle at checkout for amazing men's grooming products. We would appreciate it. Let's hear some words from some of our friends in Odd Pods Media.
We interrupt this program to bring you a news flash.
Michael Jackson's ghost seen at a Yankees game.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, now with a shrimp in every bite.
Lil Uzi Vert's head diamond has been sold on the dark web.
Stories like this and more can be found at the Ever Trending Story, a podcast where we peruse the news and write a fun fictional story for you.
Find us wherever you download podcasts and follow us on the socials at Ever Trending Pod, and we are proud members of the Odd Pods Media Network.
That's a great show, isn't it, Kendall?
Oh man, it is wonderful.
You know my favorite part?
What's your favorite part?
The middle. The beginning is always solid on that show. The end is always solid, but it's that juicy, succulent middle that I just can't get enough of.
Juicy, succulent middle. That's never mind. I was about to make a never mind joke.
So I have so many stories. There's so much to fill you guys in on about the trip. But I feel like I have to tamper the good with the bad. And the way that I thought I would do that was to have a good mix of some things that didn't go well as to accompany the things that did go well. And not in a complaining way, because nobody wants to hear bad stories from the guy who just spent 10 days in Hawaii. So how you can think of the negative stories or the bad stories is, hey, get him off his high horse, take him down a peg or two. If you get a little jelly of my good stories, it'll right size the ship, and you can go, some bad things happen to him too.
Yeah, you did your overthinking ahead of time this time.
Exactly, right? So I don't have to do it on the back end. So first things for, I'll kind of do an order of the trip, but like quick plug for YouTube Premium. I consume entirely too much YouTube. That's how I now listen/watch my podcasts. I barely open the podcast app anymore because the podcasts I happen to enjoy are hosted by very animated comedians. And so I prefer watching them. But I was like 5 episodes behind on Tiger Belly, 5 episodes behind on Chris D'Elia's podcast. And so I was like, let me check out this YouTube Premium thing, because I think you can download the videos. And sure enough, you can. Not only that, you can close the YouTube app entirely and it'll keep playing in the background while you're doing something else on a device. And it's free for the first 30 days. So the night before leaving, there's no limit to how much you can download on your device. I downloaded hours of podcasts, subscribe to YouTube Premium, download hours. It was great. I had so much to watch on the plane. So that's just a quick plug for YouTube Premium. Okay. It was my son's first time flying. I was so excited to see him get on a plane and fly. The first plane we get on, the flight attendant comes on. We've boarded, and they're given the announcements of safety stuff. And he turns to me and says, "She doesn't sound like she wants to be here." And I was like, welcome to flying, son. Next flight. So we connected in Phoenix. I love Phoenix. I wish I could stay in Phoenix some more, but we connected in Phoenix, get on the next plane to Oahu, Honolulu. And there was an Australian flight attendant. Hey, I'm an observer. I just happened to notice she had a crap ton of plastic surgery. Like a lot of, like a caricature of what somebody looks like with a lot of plastic surgery. She had.
Yeah.
And Case
Sometimes
looks at her.
Can't help.
Case looks at her face, which looks like it's pulled back, like the scene in Men in Black where he goes, "Is that better?" And Case says, "Now she looks like she wants to be here." And I said, "That's right, son, because she can't look any other way." So that was just really funny to me. This is a funny little thing and a little pro tip if you don't travel a lot. When you get the drink cart, they now have flavorings in little packets. So if you like a little lemon or a little lime, you can get, I think it's by Truly or True something. Our loyal listener, John, will know what I'm talking about. So I said, "I would like a Diet Coke with a lime packet, please." And he goes, "Do you work for us?" And I said, "No." Oh, no. I said, "I would like a lime packet, please," and said his name. And he said, "Do you work for us?" And I thought he said that because I said his name and was being like friendly. And I go, "No, just being friendly." And he goes, "No, I mean, because how did you know we have lime packets?" I was like, "Well, I fly a lot." So I thought that was just an interesting interaction. The trip itself. So a couple days on Oahu in Honolulu. The sole reason we were there, think of it like an extended layover, was really just to show the kids where we got married on Magic Island, which is sort of a part of Waikiki Beach, but it's a beach on a little park peninsula, and it's got some breakers, so the waves are really tame, and a lot of people get married there. So the only reason we were really on Oahu was to show the kids where we got married. So we got to do that. That was really cool. But I have to be honest, I had a little, it's been 20 years since I've been back there. I had a little, not culture shock, but like I was overwhelmed at how busy and touristy Honolulu was. I don't remember it being that insane. When we were checking in at the resort there, it was like elbow to elbow people between the ropes trying to check in. And I finally get to the front. We were already checked in. I just had a few questions. And so I said, "Man, this is busy, huh?" And he goes, "Not at all. Like our busy season hasn't even started and won't for 3 or 4 weeks." Wow. That's just how like overwhelmed I was by the sheer volume of people. There was also like a Scentsy convention, Scentsy, the network marketing business where they sell the little thing. So there was like hundreds of Scentsy sellers from around the country there for like a big thing. And so it was just really bustly. And if you don't, everybody likes to vacation different. We all want different things when we vacation. And every Hawaiian island has a different feel, vibe, and feature to it. But for me, Honolulu is just LA on the ocean. And if you don't have a rental car where you can explore the rest of Oahu, I'm good to not even go there. For us, Maui is so much a more chill, relaxed vibe. I was just very struck by, wow, this is way more touristy than I remember. So still fun, still beautiful, obviously, but without a rental car, you're kind of trapped in the busiest part of it. And it was really not for me. Now, our friends who were like a few days behind us, they got a rental car. They explored Oahu. They had a blast. but we were only there for 2 nights. So then the real trip for us started when we went to Maui. We were there 7 days. Such a great trip from a family perspective, seeing the kids see Hawaii, see Maui, so fun. I'm not going to tell you all the stories. I will just talk about one highlight. And it was like a beautiful moment. So everybody in our family unit had kind of like one main thing that they chose or wanted to do as a part of this trip. Mine was to snorkel. I told you guys before I left, there's this rim of a volcano where like half of the rim of this old volcano is still above the ocean water and the rest is submerged under the water. And so charter boats take people in there and you snorkel inside of this old volcano, right? It's called Malakini Crater. It's off the west coast of Maui. I saw it when we were there 5 years ago. I then learned that people even do such a thing. Hey, did you know they take you out there and you can say, what? I have to do that. So I booked an excursion for the 5 of us to snorkel through Maui Snorkeling. Shout out to Captain Spence, who did, him and his crew made the experience so fun. They were so professional. It was a picture perfect day. He said, the weather is so nice that I'm going to do a reverse itinerary. There's 2 spots they stop, Malakini Crater and then a place called Turtle Town, where you can snorkel with a lot of turtles off the coast of Maui. He's like, because the weather's so nice, I'm actually going to go backwards and do Turtle Town first because the turtles are active right now. So you guys will get a prime view of the turtles. Then after all the other boats leave Malakini Crater, that's when we'll go in and then we'll have more of the crater to ourselves. So it was, the weather made it so that we could do that. The only downside was that when you go to Turtle Town, they park the boat and they're the only boat that features a 20-foot inflatable slide from the second deck of the boat. So the kids can slide in and snorkel. And if they don't want to snorkel, they can just slide and swim. And if they want to snorkel the whole time, that's their prerogative too. The problem is that the boat is anchored and you're just doing this. So the people who are susceptible to seasickness, that's going to happen to them when the boat is anchored. And if you're not in the water and you're on the boat, you're feeling a lot of the waves. At that point, Sherry and Chloe, our middle, started to get a little sick. Then they started to get really sick. The rest of us were having the time of our lives. We're snorkeling with turtles, but it was bad. And I look at them and they're like green. So they say to the crew, hey, we're starting to feel a little bit. And they go, couple things. Take some ginger ale. We actually recommend getting in the water. You'll feel it less if you just take a noodle out there and just float around like you're floating in your pool at home. And they're like, okay, we'll try. They try. It didn't really work. They get back on the boat. And then they give them these glasses. So these glasses have you ever seen seasickness glasses?
No.
Okay. 2 lenses here and 2 lenses on your peripheral. At the bottom of the lens is dyed liquid that keeps the horizon line steady, like a level, so that it tricks your eyes into always focusing on the horizon on both your peripheral and dead ahead of you with like a deep blue. I'm going to pull them up. And so they tried those and they're like, these actually work. And so they started feeling a little better. This is crazy, right? I didn't even know such a thing existed. Okay, pulling it up. If you're on YouTube, this is a great time to make a note to yourself to follow us on YouTube. As Dillon always says, hit the dingy bell. Okay, see them?
Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
So that blue dye, obviously, because it's liquid, it's going to stay on the horizon.
If you're not on YouTube, it's like somebody made sunglasses out of silly straws and then jammed 2 of them together into the same pair of silly straw glasses. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yes.
Okay, so that worked really well, and they started feeling mostly better. So then the best part, they finally take us to Malakini Crater. There's a rare species of frigate bird that lives on this island. There's just so many cool facts. He's like, we got a little extra time, so I never do this. He probably says this to everybody, but we never do this. I'm going to take you around the backside of Malakini Crater. The visibility inside the crater once we got in was 200 to 250 feet in the water. You could see that far. I took the GoPro to this spot and then took it to the multiple pools that we visited. The visibility here was multiple times better than any of the pools we were in. Now, I'm not sure what that says about the pools that we were in, but it was amazing. And this is where I get a little sappy, but I'm in the water. Sherry and Chloe were feeling better at this point. We're snorkeling. I've got the GoPro, the fish, the colors. It looked like Finding Nemo, the species and the colors, the reef. And I'm just like, I'm in Hawaii in the middle of an old volcano, snorkeling with my kids who, like my son, was so brave. He would just take deep breaths, spit out his snorkel, dive down with his little underwater camera, take pictures of the fish, swim back up, get his breath back, just keep going, go off on his own. I'm like, I taught this boy to swim, and I get to bring him to this spot in the middle of the Pacific. Like, it was just one of the top 5 moments I've ever had in my life, to just like feel so blessed that we can let them see that this world and creation exists in this. Like, it was so, I highly recommend, if anyone goes to Maui, do yourself a favor and snorkel Molokini Crater. If you're not comfortable snorkeling, Captain Spence and his crew will teach you everything you need to know. There were so many people on the boat that day who had never snorkeled. You'll be totally fine. You don't need any experience. And they're the only charter that has an inflatable slide. It was so fun. 10 days later, we asked, hey, kids, what was the highlight of your trip? All of them said snorkeling Molokini Crater. It was so fun. I loved it so much. I got a little tattoo of the crater. That's what it looks like from an aerial view. That's the south side. It was just a really special and cool moment, and a funny little story from that. So Chloe was feeling mostly better. And she says to her mom, she's like, Mom, I'm mostly better. I just feel like one more throw up would really help. And they're floating in the crater, and Sherry just goes, then just do it. So like Chloe yaks, right? The fish just swarmed to eat the bile that she threw up. And Sherry's like, do it again. The captain was like, did somebody throw up? And Sherry's like, yeah, she did. She's like, that's awesome. The fish from like piranhas in a horror movie, like just flocked to her vomit. It scared her at first because so many fish just like beelined towards her, but it was it was so fun. They have breakfast for you on the way out. They have sandwiches and pop for you on the way back. And then you're allowed to drink any BYOB you brought, since the swimming stuff is now over, and then they let the kids take turns driving back to port. So my son gets at the top in the captain's quarters. He's the first one in line, and Captain Spence is just talking to Case Man while he's driving a boat back to the port. It was just such a fun half day. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. So that was one of the amazing things that happened. So in terms of like food, and I didn't know this, you guys covered when I went to Hillbilly Hot Dogs in Lesage, West Virginia. I didn't realize I've now eaten at 3 separate diners, drive-ins, and dives locations in the last 2 weeks. So Hillbilly Hot Dogs was on that list. I had no idea while I was there. I learned that was a diners, drive-ins, and dives location after the fact. One of Sherry's things that she really wanted to do, one day, I think this is like a month or 6 weeks ago, she's watching Food Network, and Guy Fieri is covering this food truck on Maui called Maui Fresh Streetery. She said she walked in halfway through the episode. She's watching this chef cook, and she's like, I was salivating watching it. She liked it so much, she got back on social media. She's been on a multi-year hiatus from social media. She got back on Instagram just to follow this food truck on Maui. So then once we planned the trip, she's like, well, we're definitely going, but I got to follow him online to know where he's going to be and when. So like, she was hardcore about finding this food truck. So look him up on Instagram, Maui Fresh Streetery. he cooks all different types of foods, but on the night that she kind of clocked where he was going to be, he was going to be cooking what he called like Hawaiian favorites, not like what we think of as Hawaiian favorites as mainlanders, but like people who live on Maui, like the stuff that they like to eat. So it was like Korean barbecued chicken. There was I forget what he called, like something hamburger steaks, which is like a Salisbury steak. He had it in like a gravy served with like a salad. There was a bunch of different things, and he's like blowing up right now in popularity. So we find out where they're going to be. They're going to be at a trampoline park in either Wailuku or Kahului. I can't remember which, but it's basically in the middle of Maui. And so we're going to be there right when they open at 5. All right, kids, this is the thing mom wants to do. We're going to go to this food truck. What do they have? Doesn't matter. We're going. You're going to love it. We're going to have a blast. We get there and there's already like 30 people in line waiting for him to open at 5 o'clock. We stand behind this guy who's dressed a little sharper than the rest of the people in line. Hawaiian shirt, black slacks, dress shoes. And he turns back to us and he goes, hey, I got to take a phone call. Do you mind can you hold my spot in line? Yeah, no problem. Man. So he comes back. Thank you guys so much. So, how'd you hear about the food truck? And Sherry says, diners, drive-ins, and dives. And he goes, okay, yeah, makes sense. Well, he's my buddy. And we're like, okay, buddy, like, you just want to be friends with the chef. He says, no. I was like he's one of my closest friends. I was actually there the day of filming when Food Network was there. And like, we go way back. And it's really cool that you guys found this spot. He's normally here every week, but this is his usual spot. But he's got a special thing going tonight. He's doing these special Hawaiian foods. And we're like, yeah, we heard. He goes, is there anything you're really hoping to get? And Sherry goes, well, we really hope we get some of the Korean chicken. And he goes, let me go ask. I'll see if he's worried about running out, because now the truck is open and the line is starting to move. The problem is people are taking big paper bags full of orders. They're ordering like 3 of that, 4 of that, 6 of that. Like, they're not ordering 1, 2 entrees. They're taking food back to like multiple houses worth. And we're like, oh, I hope he doesn't run out, right? So our new friend, Steve, goes up and he says, hey, chef, do you think you're going to run out of anything? He says, if I run out of anything, it'll be the Korean chicken, but everything else I'm good on. So we're like, dang it. So he comes back, says what I just said. And I said, well, hey, Steve, if chef runs out, or I said, if you are the last one to order Korean chicken, I'm having a bite or 2 of yours first. And he kind of laughed or whatever. So at that point, he turns back and faces the food truck, and somebody in front of him says, hey, are you Maui 24/7? And our new friend Steve goes, yes, I am. And she goes, oh my gosh, I love your page. Thank you so much for everything you do. So I'm like, now, while that's happening, I'm on Instagram looking up the handle Maui 24/7. And he's like he does like public service where he updates people on like traffic updates and things going on in the community before the news outlets even get information. So he's like, there's an abandoned vehicle on fire on this highway, steer clear. Or there's this person on the loose that people are looking for. There's a two-car accident on this intersection. Be sure to take a different. Like, he just does this public service, and he's got like 200,000 followers on Instagram and like 38,000 followers. I'm sorry, Facebook, and then like 38,000 on Instagram. So he turns back and I go, I didn't know we had been talking to a local celebrity. And he laughed. And I'm like, well, I have a little podcast. I was just having a good time. Anyway, it's his turn to order. His wife, Shauna, shows up. She's super sweet. We just start talking to him. He orders his food. They stand off to the side to wait on their order. It's now our turn finally. After, I don't want to exaggerate, it had been at least an hour standing there waiting to order food. We get up there and the food truck lady says, what size shirts are you guys? And we're like, what? And she said, he bought your family shirts, the guy before you. And I was like, what? So I look at him and he kind of gives me a smirk and a shaka. And I'm like, dude, you didn't have to do that. The shirts are $25 a piece. And he bought all of us Maui Fresh Streetery shirts.
Dude.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The nicest guy. So then I was like, what an amazing experience. Sherry still hasn't even ordered her food yet. We've been there 5 minutes. He's just handing us shirts And during that, I say to the chef, whose back was to us through a screened window this whole time, I said, "Hey, chef, my wife came all the way from Ohio to see you. We're so excited to be here." And he goes, "That's all? That's all the further you came?" And we laughed. And so then he says to the lady that's already giving Sherry shirts, "Give them a bunch of stickers." So they just gave us all these stickers for us and the kids. And then we ordered the food. The food was amazing. While we're waiting on our food, the chef comes out and he's like, "All right, guys, let's get a photo." So like the chef that's been on Food Network comes out. Now the other people in line are like, "Who are these people with Maui 24/7? And why are they getting special treatment?" It was just such an amazing experience. They were so kind. And we just had multiple little like cool experiences like that. It was so fun. I'll pause for a minute and see if you guys have any reactions to any of that.
I don't know how you manage to always be in situations where you have such unique interactions with unusual and interesting people. That's a compliment. I don't know how that happens.
Or is it that I just make something out of small little exchanges that I just find really...
No, that's not that's not it. No. I know lots of people who've never done anything interesting. You somehow find a way to like connect with unique and interesting people. And it's a cool thing that you have that you do. So that's awesome. I think no follow-up questions necessarily. I'm glad the food was amazing. It sounds delicious. I looked them up as you were talking about them. It looks awesome. But that's just what a great way to like enhance the experience for like Sherry's thing she was most excited about.
Yeah, I was just glad that like the thing she wanted to do was just such a positive experience. So since you said that, I have to shout out this other shop owner because we had a really cool experience with her. So this is a different... I'm sorry. I'm going to do the thing where I'm just going to share a couple pictures to put some visuals with the story that I've just told. So again, if you're following on YouTube, you'll get to see all this. So here's us with Chef at the food truck, and that's his son that he cooks with in the window there. And they go out and catch fish and shrimp in the morning on the days that he's going to cook seafood. And they go out together every morning. And then this is their gig. Lily built a skate deck. That's my manager who I met. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing while I get to the next photo. So Chloe had decided at some point in the trip that she wanted a ukulele. So I think this is our first day on Maui. Our Airbnb condo is not ready yet. So we're just killing time. We learned, this is a fun thing, there's these shops called Snorkel Bob's on the island, and you rent snorkel gear, and they have so many locations. And whenever you're done, you take it to any one of their locations and like drop it off in a night deposit box if they're not open. And it's the like cheapest way to rent snorkel gear without having to buy it or like lug it home or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last story about people. So this is a little toy store that we found shortly after we found Snorkel Bob's. It's called Maui Toy Chest. And Chloe walked in there to start looking at ukuleles. I learned that we butcher the word ukulele. It's pronounced ukulele, but nobody wants to hear me say that and correct them. It's ukulele. And these weren't like cheap touristy, it's going to break the first time you strum at ukuleles. These are like quality handmade ukuleles. And the shop owner's name was Marisol. It's a little toy store. They had little Lego sets and little hats and tchotchkes and like good quality toys at this spot, as well as the ukuleles. So this lady sat with Chloe, taught her a handful of chords, was showing her the different kinds, the soprano, the different types of ukuleles, 3 sizes, right? And she was so sweet. But this was like the beginning of our trip, and we didn't want to buy something right away. So we're like, hey, we'll see you later. We'll definitely come back and buy. She's like, well, you guys can come to my church in the meantime if you want. Like, she was so sweet. So we said goodbye after being in her store for like an hour. On the last day, our last full day there, Chloe's like, we got to go back to Marisol's shop to get the ukulele that I want. So she goes back in. We walk in and Marisol's like, you came back. And she was like emotional that we came back into the store. So Chloe's like, of course, like we said we were going to come back. I want a ukulele. So she picks the one out. Marisol gives her a free tuner. This is where Sherry and the kids got me the bracelet and the ring. She was so sweet, so kind. She's like, take a picture of me in front of my store, because Sherry had told her the story of Maui Fresh Streetery and how positive that experience went.
Yeah.
So Marisol's like, well, I'm going to do one better. That's not why we told her that story. We only told her to say everyone here has been so sweet. So then Sherry felt really led, like, I feel like I'm supposed to just pray for you. So we're just like, hey, we just like circled around her, said a quick prayer for her. She's sobbing. She hugs us. She's like, I love you guys. We're like, what is happening? So this is when things took a turn. So this is our last day. Right after we left that photo, we're pulling out of this strip mall at an intersection where there's a stoplight. We are renting a Jeep Wrangler. The Jeep Wrangler has Apple CarPlay, but you still have to hardwire your phone into the Jeep to get the Apple CarPlay to work. And we don't know where we're going next. So at the stoplight, leaving this strip mall where Marisol's toy shop was, Sherry plugs in her phone, but the screen doesn't click over, like it hasn't registered that the phone's plugged in. So she unplugs it one more time and plugs it back in right as the light turns green. So she makes a left turn out of this strip mall onto the busiest street in Kihei, this little town. 2-lane street, cars everywhere. Tons of people crossing because there's a park on one side and shops and restaurants on the other side. Cars are barely moving, and she makes her left-hand turn. On our way to Marisol's, we had seen that there was like what looked to be a check for people wearing seatbelts, because there was like 5 motorcycle police in this one little spot. We come back up to that spot when one of the officers tells Sherry, who's driving, to pull over. He just steps in front of traffic because it's moving so slowly on this super touristy road and says, pull over. He says, ma'am, my officer opposite the strip mall saw you with your phone in your hand. Are you aware of Hawaii's new law that we are completely hands-free and you can have your phone? You cannot have your phone in your hand for any reason. And we're like, we had no idea. He's like, what were you doing on your phone? She said, I wasn't even using my phone. I was plugging it in so it would go to the map. And he's like, doesn't matter. I'll be right back. You also want to tell me why one of your passengers isn't wearing a seatbelt? At which point Lily goes and puts her seatbelt on. He comes back. $102 fine for Lily not wearing the seatbelt. $350 fine for Sherry having her phone in her hand.
Oh.
And I wanted to say, taking advantage of tourists' ignorance, are we? But that probably wasn't going to help matters. But clearly they were just cranking out tickets. And we're like, ugh. So this is our last full day there. We saved a lot of our shopping and our tattoos for the last day. It's one of those like, don't spend all your money now. Also, you might see something you like better, and we'll get all that on the last day before we pack up. Come back to our resort, start packing up. We have early flights the next morning. This is at this point in the story, we're not at the Airbnb anymore. We're at the fancy resort that we saved our pennies for to give them a few nights at these really amazing pools. It's called the Grand Wailea. It's a Waldorf Astoria. It's Hilton's nicest hotel on Maui. Sherry and I are like, hey, we've had an amazing week. Let's put the traffic citation behind us. Let's you and me go out for a dinner and really just cap off providing a really great experience for our family at the resort restaurant, Humu Humo for short. Humu, not Humu Homo. Humu for short. We'll leave the kids in the room. We'll let them get a pizza or stuff from the little market. They're fine. We'll buy them a movie. We'll have just the two of us time. We have an amazing dinner. Sun goes down. So nice. I got the sea bass. She got the chicken. I definitely out-ordered her. few drinks, beautiful night, so lovely. Chloe texts us and says, Lily's throwing up. Okay. Few minutes later, she says she feels way better. No need to come back early. She texts again and says, Mom and Dad, Lily's really throwing up and really doesn't feel good. We pay the bill. We get back to our room. Lily's puking so hard that the next day we would see she's popped blood vessels in her eyes. She's puked so hard. So here we are. It's I think at this hour, it's like 10 p.m., somewhere in there. And we're supposed to get on a plane in the morning. I don't even know that they will let us on a plane with a sick kid. And we're trying to weigh our options going, do we have to stay an extra night? There's a comma in the nightly rate here. Like, we're well into the commas on a nightly rate here. Like, it's fine, but like, we're supposed to leave. Not only that, we have to return a rental car. There's a graduation that we're up against in Denver that we have to make it for. There's a hotel and rental car in Denver as well that we're going to have to adjust. And we're trying to like figure out what the heck to do. I love it because Dillon doesn't even know any of this happened. So I'm like, hey, I trust your motherly instinct. Like, I don't want to make her fly, but like, if she wakes up and feels amazing in the morning, will we really regret it? Is it better to just give her a day? So I call the front desk and I say 2 questions. Do you have any sort of medical staff on the resort? Second of all, if we needed to stay, we got a sick kiddo here, not emergent, but she's not in a good place. If we needed to stay, can you even put us up another night? And they're like, 1 second, ticket. Yes, we could put you up tonight or, for another night, but we'd have to move you to a different room. So you can either move tonight or in the morning. Also, best I can do for you in terms of medical support is our security team has a first aid kit. They can bring that up if you need it. And we're like, it's not that kind of problem. So I'm like, we'll take an extra night. And they're like, okay, just call us in the morning and we'll have the bellman take you to a new room. So Lily, puking all night, finally goes to bed sometime after midnight, I think, but she's in a bad way, not good. And now we're like, if she passes something to us, how long could this go? Like, you kind of just hope it's food poisoning, because if it's viral, we're all fixing to get this, right? So she gets a couple hours of sleep and we're like, thank goodness. We wake up in the morning to a text from the concierge. Hey, good news. You guys can go ahead and stay in that room. We've made other arrangements. They either told the people who had our room, there's a sick person in there, or how'd you like a free upgrade to go somewhere else? We extend our reservation on Maui. We cancel our hotel in Denver and we push our rental car in Denver. This is important, to the next night. So Lily takes the rest of that day to just rest. She finally starts eating some food in the form of $22 smoothies from the pool bar, virgin smoothies from the pool bar. But she's now on her phone. She's watching reels on Instagram. I'm like, okay, she said she's about an 8. And I said, why are you an 8? She's like, headache and my abs hurt from puking all night. Fair. You're not sick. Now you're just fatigued. I think we can travel tomorrow. So we travel. We connect in Oakland now. Thankfully, we were able to switch our flights. Still had a connection, but to make it to Denver. But now, 24 hours after we were supposed to be there, have a day to rest before going to this graduation. At the new itinerary, we're going to sleep for a few hours and wake up and go to this graduation at the University of Denver for our nephew. Connect in Oakland, make our way to Denver. It's 12:30, 1 o'clock when we land in the morning. Sherry always prefers Enterprise. I typically go through Avis because I'm Avis preferred through my work travels. So she used my Avis preferred to get a rental car at the Denver airport. Again, 12:31 in the morning. Every time I do Avis preferred, if you've ever rented a car, there's kind of 2 little kiosks. There's the main kiosk for everybody. And then there's an Avis preferred kiosk that has a digital screen with last names and parking spaces. You don't even have to talk to somebody. You see your last name, Hubble, G5. You walk to parking spot G5. There's a car that you reserved already there with the keys on the seat. Not a problem. Drive off. We land at the Denver airport. We go to where the shuttles for all the rental cars are. Hertz had a shuttle show up 3 times. Enterprise had a shuttle show up 3 times. Every other rental car company had shuttles consistently coming through. We stood at ours for 25, 30 minutes, just waiting. You're already exhausted, just waiting for somebody to take us to the rental car place. Get to the rental car place. I'm an idiot. And because I think my name's going to be on a screen and I'm just going to walk right to my car, people pile out of the shuttle that everyone had been waiting 3 shuttles for and go straight to the main line. And I go to my little Avis preferred counter where not only is my name not on there, there's no names on there. The screen is off. So now I'm the last person in line when I could have been toward the front of the line. At 1:30 now in the morning at an Avis. Okay, 3 people at the counter. None of them look like they want to be there. Nobody has any sense of urgency. It's 1 a.m. It's quiet. People are tired and just want to get to their cars and to their hotels. Person number 1 handles their last customer. They leave for the night. Person number 2 is handling a few customers. I'm the last person in line. There's a lady off to the far end that isn't even looking at anyone or acknowledging anyone or taking care of anyone. I assume she's the manager doing other tasks. I'm the last person in line. My family's waiting outside. It's a huge Avis room, and I'm just standing there. I walk up to the person who finishes with the customer before me. He looks at me and does this. Looks to the lady as like, can you take him? And I say out loud, that doesn't make me feel very nice. Like nobody wanted to take me. He just looks at me like, sorry, man, my shift's over. And he leaves. So the lady who had been quiet this whole time doesn't look my way, doesn't wave me over, doesn't do anything. She's the last person at the counter. I'm the last person in a velvet rope line. And I just stand there for a few minutes. Like, surely she knows I'm here. And I finally do the old nothing, not a response, nothing. I'm like, is her register not like locked? Can she not take me? So she goes, come on down, honey. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go down. I say, hey, I was supposed to have a reservation. I had a rental car. We came in a night later. She goes, okay, what's your confirmation number? Yeah, see, I never got that emailed to me. I got an email saying the phrase, we have your confirmation, but there was no number. She's like, yeah, I'm going to need that number. I gesture for Sherry to come in. Sherry, she says we need a number. The lady says, yeah, you need to call the 800 number. Come back to me when you've got. Like, okay. So hey, we never got one. And so we call the 800 number. They're like, yeah, we had you come in the night before. We counted you as a no-show. Because it was one of those, like, when the date switches over at midnight things, because we weren't there. So then they thought we were right, because it's now after midnight. The concern was, we don't want you to book another new reservation. If you've got this existing one, then you'll pay for 2. You don't want that. We don't want that. So just confirm that you do, in fact, not have a reservation, and then we'll get you a new car. So now we've confirmed the existing reservation is gone. So let's just start over. The lady's like, great. What car did you have? I said, well, we've got a lot of luggage. I had a minivan for like 160 something a day. She's like, great. What would you like this time? I'm like, the same or better. If you can bump me up to like a really cool SUV, I'll take it. She says, not only will I do you that, I'll give you the biggest SUV we have for the price of an economy compact car. I said, great. That's lovely. It's been a long day. We'll take it. So she's like, just put your card in the terminal. Terminal won't work. So she's like, 15, 20 minutes later, let's move down to this terminal. Terminal won't work. It's not my card. It's the terminal. They're like asleep for the night. She's like, will you hold the yellow button and the F1 button and do a reset on that form? I'm resetting her hardware during all this. And by the way, I'm having to guess like what she's going to say next, because she's not continuing the conversation saying things like, here's the problem. She's just making me guess why she's being quiet. I can't figure out what the problem is. She's not saying, here's what I'm trying to do, sir. She's just typing and staring at me. Then another shuttle drops off another batch of people who get in the line. And the lady who's not even talking or engaging me in conversation doesn't acknowledge them in line either. So now they're just staring at the back of my head like I'm the reason that there's a big delay. And she doesn't even acknowledge them. She doesn't say, I'll be with you folks in a moment, or we're just finalizing a trip. She doesn't say anything. So I'm like, hey, these people don't seem too happy. She's like, well, they're just going to have to wait. And I'm like, she's like, well, it's just me until 4 a.m. And I'm like, oh, Lord, all I want to do is pay for a car. So I'm not kidding you guys. 20 minutes goes by and she goes, all right, sweetie, it is not. She's using nice words when she finally does talk. She's not being mean. She's just making me do so much guessing of why we're just standing here. My family's outside of this place. It's 2 whatever in the morning now. She goes, I'm going to have to handle one of these people in line because they're staring at us. I go, yup. She goes, I'll be back to you in a second. And part of me was like, no, don't leave me, because we're halfway through this transaction and you've promised me a good car. Sherry comes in at this point and she's like, what is taking so long? And I explain everything I just told you guys to her. So she goes, can we go somewhere else? I go, where else do we go? Look around. Avis was like the furthest rental place from the airport. And you'd have to take the shuttle back to the airport to hop on a random rental car's shuttle to hope that they have cars. And they're starting to close now. So I'm like, we're literally out in the middle of this big empty lot. So finally, the lady calls me back over and she goes, we're going to try one more time. So I try one more time to enter my card. Now she tells me she's going to get me a better rate than the $160 for a minivan, right? So I'm thinking, I've now got this car for less than 36 hours. This is literally, this should be like $100. She goes, there's a $200 deposit. You get that back when you bring the car back. So that'll come out of the rate. She says, Sherry goes, so what are we getting? And I'm like, babe, don't, like, now it's not. I said, she goes, oh, I'm getting you a really nice Ford Expedition. And I go, yeah, babe. And for the rate of an economy car. She's like, great. The card finally works. Thank you, Jesus. But the total said $567. And Sherry goes, wait, what? And I go, nope, it's fine. We're good. We're getting out of here. We'll deal with this later. I have still to figure this out and figure out why we paid so much, but we got out of there. Finally, it's 3-something in the morning. We've flown anyway. So all that to say, there were some very comical parts that didn't go smoothly, but the trip itself, everything before us trying to leave was great. But once we tried to leave, the amount of things, and then we get to our hotel. It's now 3:34 in the morning, I think. We've got to get up in a few hours for a graduation. And we were just like, you know what, kids? You guys just sleep at the hotel. Lily's 17. We'll go to the graduation. You all stay here and sleep. We'll come back after graduation, pick you up for lunch. It'll all be fine, which is what we ended up doing. It was a short night, but one of those, like, what else could go wrong? But again, because nobody wants to hear the story of the guy complaining after 10 days in Hawaii, that can be the part that just balances everything out. Last thing, and I highly recommend this. I forget who had the idea. If it was Chloe or Sherry, or if Chloe had seen it somewhere. Every person that we bumped into and had a positive interaction with, Chloe, our middle, asked them their favorite song and built a playlist to listen to on the flights home from Hawaii. It yielded so many fun and amazing and positive conversations with people, local and other tourists. one server at one restaurant told us that she had literally just sat down with her fiance that day to determine the song that would play at their wedding, and that's the song she gave Chloe. One other guy said that this was the song that he sang to his girlfriend when he proposed to her. Another person said that, like, all these special stories. And I'm like, what a cool thing to carry on. And so for the Middlers and you guys, on your next trip, as you have positive interactions with people, consider asking them their favorite song. You'll probably get a little story out of it. It'll make for a nice, positive little interaction, and you'll get introduced to some new music that you never would have considered otherwise. I thought that was so fun, and it's something we're going to carry on for the rest of our family trips. So Chloe's Adventure Vacation playlist was a really fun thing. We got Marisol's favorite song. We got Captain Steve's favorite song. We got people in line. So shout out to Steve and Shauna again from Maui 24/7. We got his favorite song. That one we couldn't listen to, so we took his off. But Shauna's was great. It was just a fun little thing. So just a few stories from our trip. So now's the part where I can reveal. So you saw the Molokini crater tattoo. Kendall, you like getting trips when you go on tattoos when you go on trips with Amy. So I got
oh, look at that.
The Rebel Alliance logo, as well as dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I saw that one earlier.
Got to do the other side. And I found the guy who did my wrist piece 5 years ago, and he's like, dude, I got to recolor that for you. So for free, he recolored my wrist piece and did these 3 for me. And I'm going to get this all filled in between with trees and clouds and stars and stuff on both sides. But yeah, I thought they turned out real good. Super excited. They're still flaking off a little bit, but looks good.
So. Love it, bud. I've never heard a vacation story be filled with so much magic and vomit stories all in the same thing.
So
it
much
was
puke.
Exciting. And not all of the puke stories were negative. Right. That's what's amazing.
And to be clear, we are not blaming the Korean barbecue for any of the throw up at all.
No.
Related. Totally unrelated.
No. Oh, so yeah, such a good time. So many memories. Some good, some bad. Didn't plan on paying for extra nights at the resort or not speeding, but traffic violations. But, you know, it can't all be positive. You wouldn't appreciate the positive without the negative and the negative without the positive. But I miss you guys, and it's good to be back. And
it's good to be back. Glad you had a good time, man.
Yeah. And I leave for London tomorrow. So quick turn.
Yeah. Redefining the words entirely. That's awesome. Sounds like a great trip, in spite of some of the bumps along the road and police along the road too. And sounds awesome. I can't wait to see some pictures on social media. Certainly need to share. Also, Lily was killing it with her social media posts that she was sharing. Super good, super creative. She needs to be on our social media team.
So yeah, my daughters have gotten into these edits. They're like these really edited videos. Like in one scene, like it looks like they're pulling their brother. It started in our backyard and they're pulling their brother. And then once they were at the airport, they pulled from the opposite direction to make it look like one seamless, like tug of war with him. Even the point where they go back and then forth again, like they did that, all set to music. They're doing these little clever edits and reels on Instagram, and just so proud of them. They had a lot of fun with that. Her and I did a silly one with a soundbite from Emperor's New Groove. That was fun. But yeah, it was a good time. And there was a thing I wanted to say there. The Middlers will be glad to know that I left a few of our stickers in different locations on Maui. Stickers that are still available, by the way. Look up our social medias to figure out pricing on all of those, but you can just Venmo us and we'll send you stickers. We've got these really cool vinyl stickers that you can purchase if you're a fan. So yeah, thanks for following along. It was a good time. If you follow me on the socials, I post some stuff there. And yeah, thanks to everybody who made our experience great. I will definitely tag Marisol's shop, as well as Maui Snorkeling and Maui Fresh Streetery, the food truck, for all of those amazing experiences, and it was super fun.
Don't forget Maui 247.
Maui 247. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Shauna. You guys rock.